Assalamu alaikum everybody. Welcome to my channel. In today's lecture, we will cover structure of a skeletal muscle, the mechanism of contraction of skeletal muscle, all or no response and control of muscle contraction. These four are the learning objectives of today's class. So let's start with the structure of a skeletal muscle. We have already know that a vertebrate body has three types of muscles: a skeletal muscle, a smooth muscle, and a cardiac muscle. In today's lecture, we are focusing on the skeletal muscle. Each skeletal muscle is a bundle of long and parallel, closely packed, thread-like multinucleated cells called muscle fibers. So this is a skeletal muscle, and each skeletal muscle is composed of a bundle of long and parallel, closely packed, thread-like multinucleated cells called muscle fibers. So this is one muscle fiber, this is second muscle fiber, this is third muscle fiber. So each skeletal muscle is composed of many thread-like multinucleated, many nuclei are present in each muscle fiber, multinucleated cells called muscle fibers. What is muscle fiber? We know that each skeletal muscle is composed of thread-like multinucleated cells which are arranged in parallel manner called muscle fibers. Each muscle fiber is composed of many individual ultramicroscopic contractile myofibrils. So this is one muscle fiber. In the previous diagram, they are showing a skeletal muscle with many muscle fibers. These long are muscle fibers. In this diagram, they are showing one muscle fiber. They have taken one muscle fiber from the skeletal muscle. So each muscle fiber, this is muscle fiber, each muscle fiber is composed of many individual ultramicroscopic contractile myofibrils. So each muscle fiber is composed of many myofibrils. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. These many muscle myofibrils. Okay. Each muscle fiber is covered by a membrane called sarcolemma. Sarcolemma means membrane. Okay. This muscle fiber has a membrane called sarcolemma, and this muscle fiber has many myofibrils. The myofibrils are made up of a linear series of sarcomeres, which are the actual units of a striated muscle tissue that contract. So the myofibrils are made up of linear series of sarcomeres, which are the actual units of striated muscle tissue that contract. Basically, each skeletal muscle is composed of thread-like structures called muscle fiber. Each muscle fiber is composed of many contractile myofibrils. Each myofibril is made up of a linear series of sarcomeres. Okay, skeletal muscle, then muscle fiber, then myofibrils, and then sarcomeres. Sarcomeres are the actual units of striated muscle tissue that contract. These are the actual contractile units of skeletal muscle tissue. Okay. It is a contractile unit of striated muscle tissue. Adjacent sarcomeres are separated from one another by dark Z lines. There are light and dark zones which make up a sarcomere. Under electron microscopy, it is shown that each myofibril is composed of smaller parts, the microfilaments or the filaments. These filaments are of two types, the thick filaments and the thin filaments. So here is the diagram of a sarcomere. As I have told you, a skeletal muscle is composed of muscle fiber. A muscle fiber, many muscle fibers. Each muscle fiber is composed of an ultramicroscopic contractile unit called contractile structures called myofibrils. Each myofibril has many sarcomeres, which are the actual units of striated muscle tissue that contract. Okay, so this is the sarcomere. One sarcomere. Multiple sarcomeres are present in each myofibril. Okay, one sarcomere is separated from another sarcomere by a dark line called Z line. This dark line called Z line. Okay, this is Z line. I am repeating, one sarcomere is separated from another sarcomere by a dark line called Z line. Okay, so from here to here, this is one sarcomere. Each sarcomere has two types of filaments. One is the thick filament and other is the thin filament. The centrally placed thick filaments are made up of protein called myosin. The peripherally placed thin filaments are made up of protein actin, troponin, and tropomyosin. Okay, these thick and thin filaments, these red thick filaments and blue thin filaments, they gives the appearance of dark and light zones. Okay, further we can see that these thick filaments, these are the myosin thick filaments, and the actin, troponin, tropomyosin thin filaments, they give rise to the appearance of bands. There are two types of bands present in the sarcomere due to the thick and the thin filaments. One is called A band, other is called I band. Each sarcomere has a pair of laterally placed I band and a centrally placed A band. Okay, I band, this is the I band. I band contains only thin filament. You can see here, thin filament. Okay, here is the I band. I band, only thin filament. This is the Z line. I band contain only thin filament, and here is the I band contains only thin filament, and the A band, which contains both thin filaments and thick filaments. Okay, each A band has a centrally lightly staining zone called H zone that contains only thick filament. Okay, this is a bit complicated, but I want to put a good concept on your mind, so I just want to repeat it again. What I was saying, that each sarcomere has a pair of I band, one I band and second I band, that is laterally placed, and each I band is composed of only thin filament, okay, and the sarcomere has a centrally placed A band. From here to here, this is the A band, and A band contains both thick and thin filaments. The A band has a central lightly staining zone called H zone. That contains only thick filament. Okay, I band has only thin filament, A band has thick and thin filament both, and the H zone has only thick filament. Moving forward, okay, the thick filaments are made up of myosin, the thin filaments are actin, tropomyosin, and troponin. The overlapping of thick and thin filaments forms the light and dark bands. Each sarcomere has a pair of lightly staining I bands located at its outer edges, or more darkly staining A bands located between the outer I bands, and the lightly staining H zone is located in the center of A band. The I band contain only thin filaments, the H zone has only thick filaments, and the part of A band on either side of H zone represents the region of overlapping and contain both thin and thick filaments and hence look darker. So this I band gives lighter appearance, light zone, this I band gives light zone, and this A band, this edge zone gives light zone, and this A band, which is due to the overlapping of thick and thin filaments, gives darker zone, gives the appearance of darker zone. The thick filaments has cross bridges which are attached to the actin filaments during muscle contraction. So, the second topic of today's lecture is the mechanism of contraction of a skeletal muscle. How skeletal muscle contracts. We know that when a skeletal muscle contracts, it becomes shorter and thicker. Whenever a muscle contracts, the sarcomere shorten and the width of dark and light band changes. How the dark and the light band width changes, we see in the next slide. So this is very important theory, the sliding filament theory of skeletal muscle contraction. According to this theory, this sliding filament theory explains about the mechanism of contraction of a skeletal muscle. According to this theory, the thin filaments of skeletal muscle fiber move together by sliding over the thick filament. The sliding over of the filaments is the reason that the muscle gets shorter and thicker. Over of the filaments is the reason that the muscle gets shorter and thicker. The bulbous heads projecting from the ends of myosin filament, which act like cross bridges to hook into special sites on actin filaments. Whenever a nerve impulse is received, the myosin cross bridges hook into thin filaments and pull them towards the center of sarcomere. So this diagram is worth explaining that shows the sliding filament theory. So this is thin filament made up of actin, tropon and tropomyosin, and the centrally placed thick filament composed of myosin. Okay, the myosin has bulbous heads. These are the bulbous heads projecting from the myosin thick filament. Okay, bulbous heads projecting from the myosin thick filaments. Whenever a nerve impulse is received on the sarcomere, these bulbous heads go and hook to special sites into the thin filaments. Okay, and they pull this thin filaments towards the center. I'm repeating it. Whenever a nerve impulse is reached on the sarcomere, the bulbous heads which are projecting from the thick filament, they go and hook to the special sites on the actin filament, and they pull the actin filaments towards the center. Due to this reason, the muscle fiber gets shorter and thicker. When they become closer, they become shorter and thicker and results in muscle contraction. So here is another diagram that is showing this one sarcomere. From one Z line to another Z line is one sarcomere. This upper diagram is showing the top one is showing the relaxation state, and the lower one is showing the contracted sarcomere or contracted muscle. Okay, so whenever the muscle is relaxed, you can see the thick filament and the thin filaments and the bulbous heads projecting from the myosin thin filaments. They are not attached to each other. The bulbous heads are not hooked into actin filament. Whenever muscle contract, how does it contract? The bulbous heads project, and they hook into the actin filaments, and they pull the actin filaments towards the center. So you can see in the relaxation, the Z line was there, and when the muscle contracts, you can see how the Z line shifted from here to here to here. Okay, this is contracted skeletal muscle. The bridges break immediately and reform to other places on actin. A wave of these small moves cause the thin filaments to slide over the thick filaments. Due to this reason, the thin filaments slide over the thick filament. So here was the thin filaments at relaxation, and at contracted, it shifted from here to here. Okay. The filaments do not contract themselves but slide over each other to shorten the muscle fiber. There's not a contraction of a filament, thin filament or thick filament. They move from their previous position, their normal position, to the different position due to the bulbous heads projecting from the myosin filament. Okay. A fully contracted sarcomere can shorten by 35% of its total length. Each cross bridge repeats its bending movement 50 to 100 times within a fraction of a second. Now let's talk about all or no response. What is mean by all or no response? Once an impulse reaches the skeletal muscle fiber, there is all or no response. That means either the muscle contracts fully or completely, or it does not contract at all. There is no in between. There is no partial contraction. The muscle should contract fully or it does not contract at all. या contraction होगी या contraction नहीं होगी. There is no in between. Okay. All the contraction are of the same intensity. The strength of the contraction depends on how many motor units are contracting. The strength of the contraction, the power of the contraction depends on how many motor units are contracting, कितने motor units contract कर रहे हैं. Now, what is motor unit? A motor unit is a set of all the muscle fibers innervated by the branches of a single neuron. So here is the diagram of a motor unit. Motor unit means the set of all muscle fibers. We already know that skeletal muscle is composed of many thread-like multinucleated cells called muscle fibers. Okay, and motor unit is when set of many muscle fibers which are innervated by the branches of a single neuron. कोई एक न्यूरॉन की ब्रांचेस जो होंगी, सिंगल न्यूरॉन की ब्रांचेस जो होंगी, वो जितने भी मसल फाइबर्स को सप्लाई कर रही होंगी, इनर्वेट कर रही होंगी, वो कंस्टिट्यूट करेगा मोटर यूनिट. लेट्स एलिबरेट इट. अ सिंगल न्यूरॉन थ्रू इट्स ब्रांचेस, if supplying these all muscle fibers together, they constitute motor unit. मोटर यूनिट में मसल फाइबर, वो मोटर न्यूरॉन आता है, सिंगल न्यूरॉन आता है, उसकी ब्रांचेस आती हैं, और वो ब्रांचेस आती हैं सिंगल न्यूरॉन की, वो ब्रांचेस जो उन सब मसल फाइबर्स को सप्लाई कर रही होंगी, वो मोटर यूनिट होगा. अगर कोई और नर्व होगी, अ डिफरेंट नर्व इज सप्लाइंग डिफरेंट नर्व मोटर सिंगल न्यूरॉन, एंड दैट ब्रांचेस इज सप्लाइंग another group of muscle fibers, that will constitute another motor unit. Okay, so the strength of contraction depends on how many motor units are contracting. If one motor unit is contracting, then the strength of contraction will be different. If two motor units are contracting, then the strength of contraction will be different. जितने ज्यादा मोटर यूनिट्स कॉन्ट्रैक्ट करेंगे, उतना ज्यादा स्ट्रेंथ अच्छी होगी, इतनी ज्यादा स्ट्रेंथफुल कॉन्ट्रैक्शन होगी मसल की. A single muscle is made up of many motor units. अगर हम सिंगल एक स्केलेटल मसल की बात करें, उसके अंदर इस तरह के बहुत सारे मोटर यूनिट होंगे, बहुत सारे मसल फाइबर जिनको एक मोटर न्यूरॉन सप्लाई कर रहा होगा अपनी ब्रांचेस के थ्रू, दूसरे बहुत सारे मसल फाइबर्स उनको उनके एक सिंगल न्यूरॉन के थ्रू इनर्वेशन मिल रही होगी. A motor units contract, the greater is the contraction. The greater the contraction, the greater the motor units contract, the greater is the contraction. Okay. Moving forward, control of muscle contraction. How can we control the muscle contraction? The contraction of muscle depends upon three factors: A, nerve impulse; B, energy; and calcium ions. So the muscle contraction depends upon these three factors. Okay. First, let's talk about nerve impulse. What is mean by nerve impulse? We know that each skeletal muscle is supplied by a motor neuron through its multiple branches. Muscles are stimulated to contract by nerve impulses that travel along the motor nerve from the brain or spinal cord. The muscles are so dependent on nerve impulses that they not only stop contracting but degenerate if their nerve damages or it cuts away. It means we know that a skeletal muscle is supplied by a motor nerve motor nerve supply करती है skeletal muscles को, which are coming from the brain or the spinal cord. If the nerve innervation to the skeletal muscle is lost, किसी भी वजह से अगर नर्व स्टिमुलेशन जो है, जो नर्व सप्लाई है मसल्स की, वो लॉस्ट हो जाए डैमेज की वजह से, इंजरी की वजह से, अगर नर्व इनर्वेशन ना हो स्केलेटल मसल के पास, तो क्या होगा? दैट मसल डज नॉट ओनली स्टॉप कॉन्ट्रैक्टिंग, सो उसकी सिर्फ कॉन्ट्रैक्शन ही नहीं रुकेगी, आहिस्ता आहिस्ते जाके वो मसल डीजेनरेट हो जाएगा, एट्रॉफी हो जाएगी, हाइपोट्रॉफी, एट्रॉफी हो जाएगी उसकी मसल की, if their nerve damages or it cuts away. Okay. The second factor that affects muscle contraction is energy. Energy is very, very important factor that contributes in the contraction of skeletal muscle. Muscles need energy for their contraction. Okay. The energy required for the muscle contraction, we know that from where that energy comes. That energy comes from the food we take in our diet. Okay, that protein, that carbohydrates, lipids we take in our diet that give energy for the muscle contraction. These intermediate compounds are glycogen and creatine phosphate. First of all, from the food, when we take a food, that food gives us glycogen, carbohydrate. That if we take a carbohydrate in the form of glycogen, that glycogen in the food is stored in the muscles. Okay, then that glycogen then converts into creatine phosphate. Okay, from the creatine phosphate, the degradation or that degradation of creatine phosphate gives the ATP, adenosine triphosphate, and that ATP is stored in the muscles. Whenever the muscle contraction is required, that energy is used, and that energy in the form of ATP is used, and then muscle contracts. Okay. So nerve impulse along with energy, they both are very, very important factor required for the muscle contraction. Another factor is calcium ions that play a very important role in muscle contraction. Calcium ions are stored in the sarcoplasmic reticulum. Before we discuss about this slide, let's go deep into the topic. We know that I have already told you that the skeletal muscle is composed of multiple thread-like, multinucleated cells called muscle fibers. And each muscle fiber is covered by a membrane called sarcolemma. Okay, and due to which and the muscle fiber has also sarcoplasmic reticulum. Sarcoplasmic reticulum is the endoplasmic reticulum of the muscle fiber. Okay, we know that a cell contains multiple organelles, and one of the organelle is endoplasmic reticulum. And if that endoplasmic reticulum is present in skeletal muscle cells के अंदर अगर एंडोप्लाज्मिक रेटिकुलम होगा तो उसको बोलेंगे हम लोग सार्कोप्लाज्मिक रेटिकुलम. दैट सार्कोप्लाज्मिक रेटिकुलम स्टोर्स कैल्शियम. ओके, and this calcium plays a very important role in the muscle contraction. Okay, when an impulse reaches the end plates of nerve fibers, acetylcholine is released. Acetylcholine is the hormone, for example. So this is when an impulse reaches the skeletal muscle, that nerve endings of these nerve endings release a hormone called acetylcholine. Okay. This is followed by, when acetylcholine is released, then the calcium is released from the sarcoplasmic reticulum. This is followed by the release of a large number of calcium ions in the muscle fiber around the actin and myosin filaments. These calcium ions are bound to troponin molecules attached at regular intervals with tropomyosin. So here's the diagram which is showing the role of calcium ions in the muscle contraction. So we have already know that a muscle fiber has sarcomere, which is the actual unit of which is the actual contractile unit. Sarcomere has two types of filaments: a thin filament, which is composed of actin, tropomyosin, and troponin, and the thick filament, which is composed of myosin protein. Okay, the thick filament has the bulbous heads projecting from it. Okay, and these bulbous heads, during the time of contraction, these bulbous heads go and bind to the special sites on the actin and pull the actin towards the center and helps in the contraction of a skeletal muscle. Okay, but when the muscle is not contracting, when muscle is relaxed, in the resting state of the sarcomere, the myosin heads cannot bind to the actin because of the binding of tropomyosin. This tropomyosin, binding of the tropomyosin to the actin, and this binding of the tropomyosin to the actin prevents the binding of myosin heads to the actin. Okay, once the nerve impulse is reached to the skeletal muscle and acetylcholine is released, then after release of the acetylcholine, then calcium ions are released from the sarcoplasmic reticulum. That calcium ions come and bind to the troponin, this red troponin. Troponin protein is the part of thin filament. Okay, that binds to these calcium ions bind to troponin, and then calcium troponin complex then binds to the tropomyosin and shift it away from the actin binding sites of the myosin. Okay, जैसे ही कैल्शियम आयन आएगा तो कैल्शियम आयन आके ट्रोपोनिन से बाइंड करेगा और ट्रोपोनिन और कैल्शियम का जो कॉम्प्लेक्स होगा वो जाके बाइंड करेगा ट्रोपोमायोसिन से. ओके, binding of the troponin and calcium complex to the tropomyosin shifts the tropomyosin away from the actin binding sites of the myosin head. जहाँ पे मायोसिन बाइंड करता है आके एक्टिन से, वहां से ट्रोपोमायोसिन को हटा देगा. And then the myosin heads can easily bind to the special sites on the actin, and then myosin heads pull the actin filament towards the center and helps in the contraction of a skeletal muscle. Okay, this results in the contraction of a skeletal muscle. Okay, this is all. So this exposes the sites hooks for the attachment of the cross bridges between the actin and myosin, so as to make possible the movement and sliding of filament and hence the contraction. जिस तरह से कैल्शियम आया, उसने आके बाइंड किया ट्रोपोनिन से, ट्रोपोनिन एंड कैल्शियम कॉम्प्लेक्स बाइंड टू द ट्रोपोमायोसिन एंड प्रिवेंट्स and shifts that tropomyosin away from the myosin binding sites of the actin. Okay, after contraction has occurred, an impulse stopped. When the impulse which is coming for the contraction, when that impulse is stopped, then the free calcium ions go back into the sarcoplasmic reticulum and the cross bridges are broken. The cross bridges means that the myosin which is bound to the actin filaments, these cross bridges will break, and then again tropomyosin binds to the actin and prevent the binding of myosin, and then muscle undergo relaxation. And the muscle fibers relax again. Okay. This was all about today's lecture. I hope you have understand it. If you get any confusions, you can ask me in the comment section. Okay. Now, a very important part of today's lecture, which is multiple choice questions and then fill in the blanks, which helps you to revise your topic, today's topic. Okay. The first question is, one sarcomere is separated from another. One sarcomere is separated from another sarcomere by dash. By A, I bands, B, A bands, C, H zone, D, Z line. Second question is, the thicker filaments are made up of protein dash. A. Actin, B. Myosin, C. Tropomyosin, D. Troponin. The third and the last MCQ is, the actual units of a skeletal muscle tissue that contract is A. Sarcomere, B. Myofibrils, C. Muscle fibers, D. Microfilaments. Now fill in the blanks. First is, each muscle fiber is covered by a plasma membrane called dash. Second, the eye band contains only dash filament. Third, the thin filaments are made up of dash, dash and dash. Fourth, edge zone is located in the center of dash. Fifth, when an impulse reaches the end plates of nerve fibers, dash is released. Which hormone is released? Okay. फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन में इन्होंने प्लाज्मा मेम्ब्रेन के बारे में पूछा है. सेकंड में आई बैंड में कौन सा फिलामेंट होता है. थर्ड क्वेश्चन में इन्होंने पूछा है कि कौन से फिलामेंट्स, जो थिन फिलामेंट है उसमें कौन कौन सी प्रोटीन्स होती हैं. एज जोन में, एज जोन कहाँ लोकेट होता है? इन द सेंटर ऑफ वेयर. व्हेन एन इंपल्स रीचेस द एंड प्लेट्स ऑफ नर्व